will be given, and it's being given right now. Okay, so that they will have it all in front of them, then they can make the decision whatever way they want to go. But it'll be an informed decision. It won't be like one of these blind decisions which people have had to make in the last 2000 years, based on just faith, belief, or something like that, So like this will be a very informed decision, and after that, like you can't force like a golden age or utopia on any being. And there are a lot of beings out here who are not even they are like just bodies, but they don't have any spirit. So that thing doesn't apply to them anyways. So there's all kinds of beings out here. People think that just because people have a human body, that means that they're all the same, but it's not so. Like, there are all kinds of entities and non-entities.
So, so we're never gonna live in a utopian society. Never.
There is a utopian society in the sense like once like a lot of cleansing happens, and once something happens, then when people start again and stuff, it is utopian for a while, which is like in the sense that a lot of the nonsense is weeded out, and like people are not like right now everything is all mashed in together. All kinds of entities and non-entities are together right now, and they're mashed up together in that, like, and they have totally different agendas, ways of operating, ways of being, and everything, which creates for a lot of let's say confusion and combat, obviously, because that cannot that's a very that kind of situation. It's ignite, which can ignite any time, that kind of situation. It's a more rewarding kind of situation in that way right now. So like, but the thing is that everyone should come to know everything. That is the main thing, that when everything is revealed, so then at least people can make their own choices and form their own sort of groups, which is 11th house, which is Aquarius, which direction they want to go, like so like it helps sort things out, like, and clears up the confusion and the mess. Like right now there's so much confusion there was there before, because people thought everybody's the same as me, but it's not so. Like, it's not what the reality is.
Right.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, we got. Let me jump to this one. We got how many lokas? 14 or 15, including ours? Above?
Yeah. No, total 14, including ours.
Is there anything above or anything beyond the higher lokas, and anything beyond the lower? What's
like that's the void. You can call it the void. Like,
there's nothing there. Nothing exists.
Yeah, it's the void. Like, it's not that thing. It's a like a sort of a thing which you can make something of, but nothing has been made of it. Like, like creation is the thing which you make out of the void. And it has the, let's say, the basic ingredient necessary for creation. But when creations happen, then they form this egg. It's called Brahma's egg, which is, and then in that all the lokas come, and many Brahmans can be created, out of that void. So yeah.
And the highest loka above, that's the realm of Vishnu.
See, Brahma sits on the top of after the Tapoloka. Brahma sits at the top, and then outside that Vishnu sits, okay, just above that, okay. So, and there is a threefold thing, like, because Vishnus are many. It's not just one. One Vishnu sits in the center here, in the North Pole in Earth, and Brahma sits at the top and Shiv at the bottom, and then Vishnu's different forms sit outside the Brahma Loka as well, and in every loka one form sits. Okay, so it's a little complex, the whole thing. It's not so simplistic. Yeah.
Because there's so many different stories and explanations, and one that recently, it said that the highest loka is a realm of Vishnu, and that no soul, no spirit enter there. Only that's only for him. I don't know if there's any truth to that because there's so many different.
No. I mean, rishis and stuff go there all the time, and they can visit, and there's no such thing. Like, no.
So
yeah.
Okay, so this going back, this void that you're talking about, does that have anything to do with dark matter?
It's not dark matter, like, because dark matter is again one of these like this new constructs they have made up, like, like quantum physics and stuff like that. When you can't explain something or whatever, you just call it something dark matter. You could have called it light matter too. You could have called it brown matter or whatever. Like it's nothing like that. I mean, it's just sort of like I told you, like it's like it's like some sort of basic ingredient which you can use to create something. Like it's an ingredient. Like that's the best way to, like, rather than giving it these kind of terms like dark or blue or brown matter or white matter. It's like it's an ingredient, basic ingredient which is required for creation. And after that, once you create the waves within it and a certain kind of fractals, then the universe comes into play. Like, yeah.
So what's it gonna take for us to never reincarnate again? What does it take?
What's first to never reincarnate again? First, you have to have that desire first.
Okay.
You have to reach that point where you'll say, like, look, I don't want to come back here, and I've experienced enough. Like, I've had enough of this. Okay, that's the starting point.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So once you have that starting point, you are feeling that way. You are feeling strongly, very, very strongly. Then when you feel really strongly about something, then you're ready to do whatever it takes.
Right.
To make that happen. Okay.
Right.
Then the knowledge of what to do for doing that will come to you automatically, because you are so clear about that. That's what you want. Okay. And then you start applying and practicing that in this lifetime. Whenever you get that information or knowledge, like you get that and you start applying that, and then by the time you are what is called death, which is you're ready to leave your physical body shell, then you are ready for getting to a place where you won't have to take birth in this cycle again. Yeah.
So the knowledge has to come to you naturally.
It'll come in any way, like someone will tell you, or you'll get it from somewhere, whatever, if you're ready. If you are ready to do it. Like, for that, you have to be very, very clear about that. That's what you want, Like, yeah, it's a level of sincerity. When you have that sincerity inside, the multiverse responds, the universe responds to you, basically, immediately. It's a 100% guaranteed thing. Okay, like it's like if you so, like, really, really sincerely want that, but for that one has to like gain enough knowledge and experience here, and be very clear that one has had enough and one doesn't want this kind of thing anymore, and really, really clear, like, because people think they are clear but they're not really clear, like, like it's just this thing happens and this thing happens and they get like swayed this way or that way. Yeah, so beings have to be very, very clear, like, about that, and then the knowledge, and then it's a matter of application, and time tests you out, because when you apply something, and you might be saying something today, but you might not be saying something like a week later or month later or year later or 10 years later, so
yeah,
so that kind of tests are there, and like, because you have to get yourself psychologically ready for higher realms as well. Higher realms require more discipline and a certain kind of way of being, and so you have to be like ready for that kind of thing, if you're not going to be here, and if you want to out of cycle of birth and death, which is just going to the next realm, even, which is called heaven. So if you go there, you won't have to come down here, basically. But then
sorry, continue.
Yeah, so but then to be there, you have to still be following the rules and laws and that thing of that realm, like, to because if you go against the basic multiversal laws or pure principles anywhere, and then you have a chance of being thrown back here, like coming back here again, like so yeah.
Well, what if there's some unfinished business in this life, but you don't want to come back? Do you have to come back anyways to learn those lessons and to rectify things, or
there is never any unfinished business.
Okay. Okay. Let me give you an example.
Yes.
Let's say I get into a huge argument with someone.
Yeah.
You know, cuss each other out. Maybe throw a couple of punches.
Yes.
I go my way. He goes his way.
Yeah.
We never see each other again. Do we have
Yes.
to come back to
No.
fix that? Fix that? No.
No, nothing like that. Okay, because both beings, once they have gone apart from each other, can take different paths. Like a being can go on a path of enlightenment and their thing, and they can do the right things themselves. Okay, then they're moving in a different direction, and that person might be moving in a totally different direction. Then those beings will never meet in that way. So it's nothing which is like that thing that just for whatever happened, like little bit of whatever happened, like it's not any important thing.
Okay.
There are a lot of actions which cut away all the previous actions one has done. Like there are a lot of actions in this multiverse which sort of act as a cutting tool, and then they dissipate all the actions which one might have done previously. So it's not that one has to do a specific kind of action with that particular being only in order to, and because there's no resolving of that karma anyways. Even if you meet them again, and even if you shake hands, okay,
what's done is done.
Yeah. It's not exactly the same. It doesn't mean that okay, like your differences are finished, or like you're completely that thing. It's nothing like that. So it's people have to understand that karmas are not in that way. Like karmas can be cut by certain actions you do, which have nothing to do with the beings you have done those karmas with. Yeah.
That's funny because I actually have friends in the real world outside of social media that we used to be enemies.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, years later, we're like hanging out and playing cards and laughing. And does that have anything to do with karma or previous life? Like,
no, it's nothing. Like, I mean, the point is like, that can happen. I mean, a different circumstance happens or different that things. But people call that even like if people are getting along with somebody, then that can cause an attachment. Okay, so then people think that okay, now I can't leave this and that thing. Then you can't leave this that thing cycle of reincarnation again, because now you have attachment. First you had enmity, now you have attachment. Whatever, like that can fluctuate and flicker, between both those polarities. But that doesn't mean like just like even if you are friends, you can still like a being can still quest like getting out of the cycle of reincarnation and stuff like that. And just like if they were enemies, the same could be done even then. So nothing has changed in that way.
Well, the memories of the past is always going to be there, and it may not bother you. Some people let it.
I mean, because you will you can do actions which can take you way above any of that kind of thing to bother you in any kind of way, in any psychological way. Like you can do once you start doing those steps, your psychological clearing is like very complete and very very. It's not those kind of vibrations do not bother you anymore.
Yeah, because like there's this popular belief that if you've grown up being bullied, it's because in a previous life you were the bully. I disagree with that.
No, it's nothing like it's nothing like that. I mean, whatever it is, like even if you like I mean, like 20 lives you can be bullied straight. All 20 lives. It's not that like it's nothing to do with that. It's a question of like what a being is like planning or preparing for themselves, or how they are changing or how they're interacting with the environment, and that is their own decision. And whenever somebody does something, like if you hit your head against the wall, you feel the impact yourself. Okay, nobody else does. Okay,
right.
Yeah. Okay, so like if you keep on hitting the head against the wall 20 times, 30 times, 40 times, and finally you have to decide whether I want to hit that head against that wall or not. So each being can do that, and they're allowed to do that as many times as they want. So
but why does it happen to some people, but then some people they never get bullied? Like what attracts us to what causes us, for example, to come across these type of people?
The thing is, that is where once, like if you have a chart, for example, and if you're running a dasha, which is like, let's say it's a good dasha in the sense that it'll keep you away from like problems and troubles, okay? And problems and troubles can be anything, like whether you get a disease or you don't get a disease. Like you don't get a disease, then you're trouble free. Like, okay, you don't get something from outside, like any kind of bullies or any kind of people harassing you, okay? So that is also your well-being, okay? Like so like, and like if you have done some good karmas in the past, it gives you a dasha like that at that point. But that will last only for the time that the dasha lasts. When the dasha changes and you have some other kind of dasha and something else happens, that then you'll experience that, you know. So whenever people are experiencing anything sort of even good, like let's say like good where you have a good health and nothing is bothering you, then you're supposed to use that time wisely so that you can sort of concentrate on your progress and your evolution in that time, rather than just saying, okay, things are going well for me now, so let's just, you know, like, you know, it's and that's what people do. A lot of people, they waste their good dashas just because things are going for them, you know, and then they just sort of fritter that away, like, you know, and then like, and yeah. So, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Now you cleared that up for me, because I went through a lot of that during my Jupiter dasha, being like bullied and put down. And the thing is, it's I got Jupiter in my seventh house, Taurus, which in astrology they're enemies.
Yes. Yes.
So that explains why I went through a lot of that stuff during that dasha.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and wherever people like, even if you're facing a negative situation like that, okay, then that also eggs you on towards evolution only, that you want to do something so that you don't face that kind of thing, or whatever you want to create a circumstance situation, you know, or it gives you a sort of disillusionment from this world and this matrix, you know, which again drives you further towards uplifting your own self, on your own spirit.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. So it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with karma or past life. It's just the dasha and its influence.
Yes. Yeah, right? which is obviously something to do with what you have done in the past. But again, any positive or negative situation in the present is finally for the same thing, for evolving you and giving you that impetus for evolution. If things are going well for you, you should use the time for evolution. If things are not going well for you, that will obviously give an impetus for you to do something about it, you know. So both things are for that only. And so beings have to understand that that's the primary basic thing which they have to do, you know, like, and that's the way to deal with anything, you know. That's the once you get on that cycle and that way of being, then you won't be so let's say swayed by the different dashas and antadashas and things like that. It will not be so much of a problem for you.
You know what? I'm sitting here and I got goosebumps, because now I have thanks to you, and your knowledge and who you are, I got this big clarification. And which leads me to wonder, like, okay, some people are born under fortunate circumstances, some negative, some mixed results.
Yes.
Why so? Why are some people born under these three different? You know what I mean?
Whatever is considered fortunate and stuff is like also open to sort of like, you know, like we can talk about that, you know, like if people think like if somebody's born in a rich family, that's fortunate, okay. But it might not so be so fortunate like to be born in a rich family, because then you are spoiled from that thing, and this is you have other mental issues to face, and then everybody's a certain way, and there's all kinds of things going on out there. So is it exactly a fortunate circumstance or not, like, you know, like
right.
And so what I'm saying is, what actually is fortunate and unfortunate or anything in this world cannot be judged so easily, you know. Like what I'm saying is, like, the first thing is that whatever takes one towards improving oneself, whatever circumstance and situation is the best situation, you know. So like if some situation is there which is forcing a being to look into oneself and decide like, okay, this is what they are and this is what the situation is, and this is not what they want to be, they want to become that, or they want to like better their state of being, you know, the better their state of being from wherever they are at. That is the best thing. So like it's howsoever that happens. Like even a person is born in rich family and stuff like that, and then they have a lot of money, and then they sort of get lost in drugs and stuff because they can get them and blah blah blah, and then after that they realize everything is just because when all the drugs like get to them, and then they realize that it's all nonsense and they're going down a negative path, then they might realize something. Another person who is coming from a poorer set of circumstances will reach that kind of understanding in a different kind of way. So there is all kinds of things which happen to different beings in different ways, but they're all pushing towards the same thing, which is like improving their state of being. Like just because you're born in a rich family doesn't mean that your state of being is higher or better.
Right.
Yeah. Just because you're born in a poor family doesn't mean your state of being is lower. All these things which are there in this system and society have nothing to do with the actual state of beings of people. Okay. So, and everybody, if they're honest to themselves, they come to know what their actual state of being is. If they look into themselves. So which can be done in any that thing, and from there one has to take it further up. Like there is always a chance to improve. There is never not a chance to improve that for anyone.
Well, some people have gone from rags to riches, and the opposite, right? I guess it depends on the choices that you make, right?
Yeah, but even whenever any of those, it still doesn't make any difference to your final, like, improving your state of being, because that's got nothing to do with money, like your state of being. Okay, so improving your state of being is totally different. Like, for example, right now, a person might be a billionaire right now, like Bill Gates or something, but the food he gets to eat in America or wherever is worse than a Indian villager in the village in India. Indian villager in the village gets better food than Bill Gates. I mean, so who is in a better position? Like having a billions of dollars, or you getting something proper to eat? Like, so I mean,
and these are all influenced by the dashas, right?
Yeah, dashas, and the way you're born and what your chart overall is, like,